everyone. Welcome back to Pull on the Call podcast. My name is Mændy Mac,
And I am Cris Rivers.
and today we are so excited to be here with the amazing pole coach and performer, LisaBella.
Hello. Hello.
Yay. Thank you so much for taking the time to meet with us today, Lisa.
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Yes, our pleasure. We are super excited too.
Yes. If you aren't following her already, she's LisaBella Pole on Instagram. She's absolutely incredible, and you're about to learn all about her.
All about me. Share all the secrets.
I love you.
Yes.
And we will, as always, have all her links and handles to social media in the comments and description below. Make sure you check those out.
Yes. So I guess we should start at the beginning with what got you into pole dance?
Yes. So what got me into pole dance? I was in college. I was competing in international Latin ballroom, think Dancing with the Stars type stuff at the time. I was in college, so I did a summer internship in California, and my dance partner surprise dumped me. Yeah, yes, I know. No hard feelings because it led me to pole. But yes, was not a good feeling at the time. Yeah, but movement's been a part of my life since I think I was 3 years old, whether it was competitive gymnastics or dance. It's always been a part of my life. I've found that it's a great way to complete the stress response cycle to de-stress when life gets hectic and crazy. So if it wasn't Latin ballroom dance, I was looking for something else to fill that need. And coming from that sensual side of dancing that Latin ballroom dance offers, I was looking for something else in that vein. And pole dance attracted me. Yeah, so I took my first class at Bar and Pole in Northampton, Massachusetts. Yes, you know it very well. With Tekla TK. It was an intro series, and the rest is history. Yeah.
I love it. Bar and Pole, Northampton. Good times. Did you find your movement background and the Latin ballroom dancing help you when you started transitioning into pole?
So at first, no, not at all. It was much harder than I thought it would be. I remember emailing TK ahead of time saying, hey, I have a background in gymnastics and dance. Is there any way I can skip into the sensual heels, exotic classes? She rightfully so said, no, you need to take the intro series first. And I mean, she was of course right. The push-pull of pole is so unique that I wasn't prepared for it. I had trouble climbing, spinning, everything. It was all super new. I think once you get further along in pole, certainly the dance background and movement experience and body awareness all help a lot. But when you're starting out, unless you've done some other type of activity that uses weird contact points like your elbow pits and knee pits and squeezing things in between your knees, it's a whole another group of muscles and coordination that you need. I know I say a lot in my classes, especially to the beginner students just starting out, unless you randomly squeeze objects in between your knees and in your pits, it's new muscles and it just takes time. So don't be surprised if you don't get it right away.
Well, thank you for sharing that. I also
Yes.
remember there was a time when I was like, TK, when can I just like dance?
Yeah.
And she was like, no, it takes a long time. And it really does. Yeah.
I remember I had the same email this conversation where I was like, I come from the strip club, I can do
Right.
tricks, I want to learn how to finesse. And she was like, yeah, still drop into the intro series.
Yeah. It's a
Oh my
good
God.
background.
Yes. But I didn't realize if you have if you are in ballroom, if your partner leaves you, it's kind of like hard to start over. I guess I didn't realize that, huh?
Yes, yes. I mean, I probably could have started with a new partner and learned new routines, but with the amount of time I had left in college, it just didn't make sense financially or time-wise, or where we would be able to get to, or I would potentially leave. Yeah.
But now you have pole as your partner, and the
Now I have
pole will not leave you.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
I
I
love
love
Yes.
Too funny. So, what style of pole did you gravitate to, or do you now gravitate to?
Yeah, I think I started out wanting to really focus on the sensual side of pole. I think currently where I am style-wise, I'll take sort of a cop out and say that I love that pole has so many different styles. And you know, as human beings, we don't just have one mood. And I like that pole dance. You can express every single facet of yourself. So you know, if I'm in the mood to be lyrical and a pretty fairy, I can do that. Or if I want to find hard hitting, drag my body through the dirt kind of music, I can embody that as well. So I like that pole dance can be so many different styles that can fit any mood. Yeah.
I love that. It's so true. It's so very hard to pick
Yeah.
one style because it's like you said, like we have different moods, and sometimes I just want to dance to some rock or feel some sexiness and sensuality.
Yes, you should see my Spotify playlists. They're all over the place. There'll be some classical music, and then there'll be some like super hard metal sort of stuff, and it's all over the place. But it's all the different moods.
I don't think I've ever seen you dance to metal. I think I would like that.
Soon, one day.
Yes. But what would you say is your favorite pole trick?
Oh, favorite pole trick. I think I always love the flexi moves. So I like a good spatchcock. Yes, yes, a classic. I think that it's one of those moves where the entrance is so hard and so particular that once you get into the actual shape in comparison, it's like, I'm flying, I'm free. Finally, I'm here. So I love spatchcock. It's a audience favorite. It's a nice thing to pull out. And it's sort of obscene, which is fun too. Yeah.
I adore you. I can't. I mean, I would like to ask if, because you mentioned spatchcock, what
Yeah.
is your flexibility training like? Do you have any tips? Because you are incredibly flexible. And I aspire to be like that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So I mean, I started in gymnastics at a very early age. So I think a lot of my flexibility I started developing very young. But I would say even since starting pole as an adult, I've gained a lot of flexibility, and that's in large part due to a lot of active flexibility work. There are so many spatchcock specific exercises that I love that I could show you sometime. But yeah, I think it's really a lot of active flexibility and being consistent with that, and finding good teachers who have that knowledge and can pass it along to you. Yeah.
I definitely want to get a spatchcock, and you are the person I'm going to contact for
Oh,
this.
yeah.
Post spatchcock workshop.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've come to accept, thanks to like certain damages in my body, spatchcock might not ever happen to me, but I will forever look at it on other people.
Yes.
Okay. We didn't ask the second part of that. What is your pole nemesis, if any?
Pole nemesis. I'd have to go with layback. it's, I know, laybacks, one of those fairly beginner moves. I'll teach it if I have to, but I'll let you know that I hate it every single second as I'm teaching it. And I can't even put a finger on why I dislike it so much. I do lots of other inner thigh ouchie moves, super pain as a move. I love, but not layback. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, I avoid it like the plague. At this point, I've found weird and complex and overly difficult entrances to certain moves like Rainbow Marchenko and Octopus for the sole reason of avoiding layback. So yes.
That's so funny how that it makes you become more creative.
Yes. Yes.
Both layback versions, can you like the cross knee or cross ankle, or both of them suck?
I dislike both of them. Both of them. I mean, I don't know. Maybe someday I'll have to take like a layback intensive and see if I can grow a fondness for it. But right now it's not there.
I could definitely understand and respect that. I'm similar with the laid back. I'll teach
Yeah.
it, but I'll stay away from it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
Not
curious.
me, I will live in it.
It's funny. I'm curious though. You said
Like,
like three different like entrances to things like Rainbow Marchenko. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Lots of brass monkey switching to other brass monkey just to get, yeah, it's
I love it.
overly complicated and probably doesn't look that great, but anything to avoid the layback.
I love that. Brass Monkey is one of my favorites. That sounds fun.
Yes, love a good brass monkey.
not
Yeah.
me.
Oh,
I missed your
really?
brass monkey workshop. I was going to take it just for that sole fact that because I
Oh,
hate it.
no. Next time.
Oh,
All right,
I was
we'll
gonna,
add it into my spatchcock
yes,
Yeah.
preparation.
I was gonna tell Mandy, if ever in the future, maybe when I'm on vacation in June, Saturday workshop, Sundays are really hard for me.
Oh, yeah.
But I really wanted to take your Brass Monkey workshop. It sounded so fun.
Yes. Yeah, I love brass monkey. It's probably one of my favorite not as flexy moves, just because it can be a shape in and of itself and so many variations from it, and then also just such a fundamental transition move.
I agree. I agree.
Well,
And all
you are
right.
not just amazing on regular pole. Do you want to talk about the different pole
Yes.
and non-pole apparatus that you also do?
Sure. So I do other aerial apparatuses, including flying pole and straps, and dance trapeze. I would say flying pole and or aerial pole and straps are the two main apparatuses that I do. I think of aerial pole as spin pole on steroids. So if you've ever gotten dizzy on a spin pole, aerial pole is a whole other beast. But it's fun because it combines a lot of the technique from aerial spinning and other stuff, and combines it with a lot of the shapes that we already know on pole. So I love a good aerial pole session. Yeah.
Right. Every time I see you do like an iron X on the aerial pole, I'm like, how the heck? Because like the thing like it like goes away from you when you try to
Yes. I actually find it easier to do deadlifts on an aerial pole than on a static pole. Yeah. It
That's
might be in part because of the momentum can help bring your hips up. Or maybe it's the tilt. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't thought about it too much, but it's definitely easier.
that's an interesting thing to think about.
Yeah.
I want to ask, like, conditioning for flying pole, is it similar to pole? Is it the same? Because it looks so freaking hard.
I think that a lot of moves on pole translate to aerial pole pretty directly. Entrances and things where your points of contact are or the forces are horizontal. So like shoulder mounts, the pole will tilt more. Split grip shapes, the pole will tilt more. Foot mount, All of those things feel very different, and it's getting used to that feel. I don't think it's a feeling that is necessarily something that you would feel in any other aerial apparatus. So some of it's just getting used to the new push and pull that comes with a pole that's not fixed. But I mean, just regular pole conditioning in addition to aerial conditioning is really helpful. I would say my straps conditioning has helped a lot, especially with aerial pole, because you tend to rely on that top arm a little bit more. Yeah, so yeah.
Your straps work is amazing too. I'm always so like, I'm just
Yeah,
like, whoa.
I know.
You.
I didn't even know you could do stuff like that on straps. I didn't even know you could do aerial on straps or
Yeah.
straps.
I love straps. I think straps is sort of straps to aerial pole to trapeze to silks is a lot like what ballet technique is to other forms of dance. So it's almost like you strip back all of the other stuff, and straps is you and your muscles and technique. Straps is often used for aerial conditioning for other apparatuses. And I think it's really rewarding because on pole, oftentimes we're so reliant on grip. You know, if we're having a sweaty day, if it's too hot out, if our skin's feeling sensitive, it can impact our pole session. I feel like with straps, a lot of those variables are removed. So you can see very concrete process or progress week to week. As long as you're consistent, you see the gains. So it's very rewarding as an apparatus.
Um, straps are actually absolutely so beautiful. What would you recommend to those of us and others out there who might be interested in trying straps, but we suffer from shoulder damage? And I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared as hell to try it because of that damage. What would you advise for others like me?
Yes, yes. So straps is very tough on your shoulders. I mean, I think aspects of pole are very much so as well. So I know I teach an intro to straps class at Air Temple Arts, shout out. And one of the prerequisites is healthy shoulders. In general, I would say there's so much conditioning we can do for our shoulders off apparatus. So many PT exercises and the boring stuff that none of us want to do, but we know it helps us, those sorts of exercises. So there's plenty of those things that we can do. But I think once you start getting into straps itself, because you're really hanging from your hands engaged, hanging, but still hanging, and putting yourself in a lot of vulnerable positions. Having healthy shoulders is important.
Thank you for sharing that and being honest because I always wanted to know.
Right? Yeah, that was one of my questions too, because I have one hypermobile shoulder and one really tight shoulder. So evening those out probably would be best before trying straps, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there's so much conditioning that you can do on straps. Straps is often, you know, even though it's a discipline and an apparatus and all of these things in and of itself, people often go to it as cross training or conditioning. So I think that you can certainly use straps as a great conditioning tool, but if you want to delve deeper into more of the, skin the cats and all of these different shapes, yes, a little bit of shoulder prehab, rehab, those sorts of things, definitely helpful.
Good to know for sure.
So, I don't know if you mentioned it, do you have a favorite aerial apparatus since you've tried?
Oh no, it's like picking a favorite child. I don't know if I can do that. And I'm on
I love it.
pole on the podcast. I don't know if I can pick anything other than pole.
Oh, be honest.
I think pole just because it's something that I've done the longest and I feel so comfortable with, and I can express so many different parts of myself, I'll always go back to pole. It may not be the dynamic, crazy tricks pole. It may be more of the flowy pole, but I think there's always aspects of pole that I'll go back to, regardless of the other apparatuses that I'm working on and improving. But straps is sort of like yeah, I'm in the honeymoon phase of straps still. I love it. I'm so eager to know and learn all the different things and what's possible on straps and loop straps. So yeah, but pole I'll always go back to. Yeah.
And then don't you also do like is it called whirly pole? That's
Whirlpool, yes.
like
Yes, so whirlpool is essentially an aerial pole, so suspended on the top end, and the bottom of the pole is in a ball socket joint. So the pole can spin around in circles. I've only done it a few times. I have the equipment for it, but finding the space available to rig it is sometimes hard, and it takes a lot of pieces the way I have it set up. But it feels like flying. I think most straps feels like flying, pole feels like flying, aerial pole feels like flying, but whirlpool is a whole nother experience. Yeah, it's wild. Definitely recommend trying it if you ever get the chance.
I always forget about whirlpool. I was just thinking about it where you're talking about. I would be so afraid of just like smacking the floor.
I know. You're pretty close to the floor, and you can also attach a hand loop. So it doesn't need to be scary and dangerous. That's
too funny. I love it. Whirlpool.
right, you have to like have mats all around the room for me.
yes. Yes.
Who knows where she'll land?
Yes.
Too
Well,
funny.
for regular pole, what kind of hand and body grip do you use, if any?
I am a dry hands addict. I've tried so many other brands, but I keep coming back to dry hands. I think the second favorite grip that I have is Arid Plane. They're a grip brand, I think that's relatively new out of Taiwan. And I like them, but I think I like them because they're similar to dry hands. So it's dry hands. I'm a dry hands girl. Yeah, so dry hands for the hands. I use eye tack all over my body. I use firm grip when I'm feeling spicy or doing sketchy moves. And then I guess the other one is corn huskers. I use it in place of lotion right after the shower. And it's a great non-oily alternative.
I tried the corn huskers before, but it didn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Everyone's skin is so different. It's
right.
once you find something that works.
Mhm.
Hard to let go.
Corn. Never tried or heard of that.
Yes, it's relatively inexpensive, so
Mhm.
it's worth trying if
Yeah,
you ever see it.
right. I guess it's like for lotion after you've been like picking corn.
Or is it made of corn? I don't even know.
Is it right? Why is it called that?
Too funny.
I'll have to look that up after.
I should probably know, yeah.
So, do you have any personal achievements in pole that you like to share about?
Yeah, I think most recently I'm very proud of performances and acts that I've created. Yes. I'm actually performing 2 Sundays from now, or no, Saturdays from now, with Subtle Asian Polars in New York City. This will be with loop straps, a loop straps act that's Disney themed. But I've performed with them in the past and always really enjoy doing their shows. I think, so my first performance with Subtle Asian Polars was last, I want to say June, maybe. And that was a big achievement. I had been following them for a really long time, had major FOMO over all of the events and socials and photo shoots and performance opportunities that they had, and really wanted to be a part of it, especially since they were creating this community. They are creating this community for AAPI polars and aerialists out of New York City. And I so wanted to be a part of it that when I heard that they had a performance opportunity come up, I ended up pulling together an act, choreographing it, filming, and submitting it within 48 hours. So that shows how much I wanted to be part of what they were creating, what they are creating. Yeah.
Yes, that's exciting. Congratulations on performing again with them.
Thank you.
Right? I feel like you're performing like every single weekend. I always see like some beautiful flyer.
Oh, I very much enjoy making those flyers. I would say when I'm not doing my muggle job, not polling, not doing aerial, I'm doing fun stuff like creating videos and flyers and editing music and rhinestoning costumes.
I
Yeah,
love it. The life of a creator.
that's the fun stuff though. Yeah.
Yes.
I
Well,
agree.
maybe, do you have any tips on creating videos? Because you do have some really
Yeah.
amazing video editing skills.
Thank you. Yeah, I use CapCut, which is I think it's from the same company that does TikTok. But it has a lot of different features. I tend to film further away in high quality video, so that I can use keyframes to zoom in. I can pan, I can tilt and make it look like I have someone with a camera following me. So that, in addition to some of the effects and transitions and filters, can make any video a little bit more professional, fun.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Love it.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah.
I have CapCut and I've heard of it, but I've just never gotten to. I'm gonna have to start using it because you do make incredible videos.
Thank you.
Yes.
It's a lot of fun. Maybe it will be the next pole engineer tip. Yeah.
And I'm gonna so cite you on it because I
Yeah.
just learned about the tilt. I wrote it down too. I said keyframe to zoom and someone's following you, and LisaBella shared this tip.
Oh, too funny. Yeah. Yes.
I
Yes.
love
I
it.
mean, I would say, so I have a background with various different editing tools like Adobe and Final Cut Pro and lots of stuff. And I mean, the features are pretty much the same. You can find keyframes and masking and all of that stuff on pretty much all of them. I think CapCut is one of the few apps that I've found that you can really do everything. So not that I'm sponsored, not that I'm trying to push people to go use it, but it's been very useful for me.
I love it. Awesome. Do you also share on TikTok?
I have a TikTok. It's pretty much what I share on Instagram. But I tend to also share what I post in stories that, evaporate after 24 hours. I tend to post them as videos on TikTok.
I did not know you have a TikTok. I'm gonna say
Okay. We'll have to follow each other.
yes. Is it the same as your Instagram handle?
Yes, LisaBella Paul.
Yeah. Hey.
That's funny. Before you came on, we were talking about how Instagram is sucking lately, and we should try
Yeah.
TikTok.
I mean, every platform has its challenges. I can't even figure out which one is least, I don't even know, sex worker phobic, and I don't even,
Yeah.
who knows at this point? Maybe
Right.
I know what my goals are in the future, and I would love to create a platform for pole dancers that is not sexophobic.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Right, then we can post whatever we want. We don't have to make weird alternate names for what we're doing.
Yeah.
That is the goal.
Exactly.
That is the goal. To be continued.
Yes. I'll keep an eye out.
Yes.
slowly working on it, but it's so very hard working, going to school, having stepchildren,
Oh
and
yeah.
writing code for an app that you want to build for.
Yes. Doing it all.
But to be continued. Enough about me anyway.
No.
So we didn't cover this. When did you start transitioning into pole teacher and start coaching and training others?
Yeah, so I started teaching, I think it was in 2019. I was living in Illinois at the time. And I started teaching at a studio in Wisconsin, Pure Gravity Fitness. The studio owner at the time, Kyra, had an injury and was out of teaching. And so I was filling in her classes and teaching a beginner class once a week. And I had teaching experience in the past, teaching children's dance classes and acro, and then just teaching STEM outreach stuff as well. So I was very comfortable with the teaching aspect, but teaching pole was very different and new and challenging. And this was before I got the expert certifications. So I fondly remember sitting down and walking through all the cues and my lesson plans and everything. But I don't think it was until I came back to Connecticut, and after I took the expert certifications, I have 1 through 4 now. And yes, expert, yay. And started teaching regularly in Massachusetts, multiple levels that I really grasped how pole moves progress. So if you're teaching, I'll throw out a random example. If you're teaching Aisha's, having students, knowing that students have already done upright bracket grip, inverted bracket grip moves like butterfly, extended butterfly, inverted D before they're trying Aisha, so they have the stabilization and strength to be able to do that safely. I don't think that I really grasped all of the progressions and nuances until I had been teaching for some time.
Right. That was the same for me too. It was kind of like I guess well we when we were learning, it was all so new. And then now that we've all had our certifications and everything, it's like kind of like the progressions of things and makes it more clear. And I
Yes.
remember when I was in my teacher training too, I was like, wow, all of these things that I missed, I'm
Yes.
now learning right now.
Yeah. Yes. I went through that as well, just going through the expert trainings. I think a lot of the basic spins I had skipped over.
Yes, but
Yeah.
I found even in the expert trainings, like they did amazing with explaining the content, but I feel their point was like adding variations, but they didn't really emphasize like really breaking it down, like you just said. And I would have really loved to learn that. It's like you said, we learned it during our experience as teaching and over the years.
Yeah, and I think that's really hard to cover in any certification. If it's a 2-day event, it's really hard to share, you know, the on-the-job training, the seeing it firsthand and experiencing a class where you have people at different levels and all of those things that come with the teaching experience. I don't know how I would tackle it if I were trying to create a certification myself. Yeah.
Too true, valid point.
Yeah.
Right. Right. I'm happy that you shared that too, because sometimes people think like, oh, I just need to do this certification and then I will be a teacher. But no, that's just like the beginning.
Just the beginning, yeah.
Right. You actually really learn by doing
Yes.
and experiencing other people's bodies.
Yes. Yes, it's funny. I'm just starting to teach intro to aerial straps. And it's very funny because I feel like I'm going back to page 1 when it comes to being a teacher. With pole, I've gotten to the point where I walk into a class, and even if I don't entirely know what level people are at, I know the progression and regressions and how to combo it with other moves. So if people need more advanced things to work on, I can offer that. But with aerial straps, it's like I'm still building that teacher vocabulary. So it definitely reminds me that there's so much to learning how to be a teacher.
Yes. Do you find that there's going hand in hand though, the different teaching, because obviously they're two different aerial things. Do you find some of the things are going together?
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think the certainly the off apparatus conditioning, so working hip flexors, working rotator cuff strengthening things, all of the off the pole conditioning that we learn and develop as teachers is, I would say, directly applicable to straps using very similar muscle groups. I think that also circus in general, they have, probably because they've been around longer, tend to have more knowledge of exercise science that they've built into the drills and progressions that they have to offer. So I feel like I've also been able to bring some of that world into my pole teaching and incorporate more of those drills and circuits and stuff like that into classes.
Love
Mhm.
it.
Yes, thank you for sharing that.
Well, do you have any pole dance philosophies or teaching philosophies you'd like to share?
Yeah, sure. So one of the things that I feel very strongly about is when it comes to freestyle. I used to teach a weekly class, a sensual flow class that was very much find your own flow. And one thing that I realized pretty quickly is that a lot of beginner pole dancers feel extremely intimidated by freestyle. If you say, okay, put on a song, let's freestyle, it takes a lot of courage and vulnerability for beginner students to feel comfortable in that space and to do anything. And I compare it to learning a new language. So if I were learning a new language and my teacher said, okay, now let's just have a conversation. Don't worry about what you're saying, just have a conversation. You could probably get out some words, but it would be extremely stressful, extremely daunting. So I find that when I'm teaching freestyle and trying to guide students through that, finding their own flow, teaching students individual moves and teaching them variations and different entrances and exits, and then combining moves into short sequences. So showing them how to build sentences, building the vocabulary, starting to form sentences, and then giving them the space to explore on their own and start to create things in different orders, that it makes the whole process a whole lot less scary. So even if you know 3 moves, you could do those 3 moves for an entire song, and that could be your freestyle. But it's a lot less daunting than music and go. Yeah.
I agree. Thank you for sharing that tip. It's
Yeah.
because you're right. For intro students, freestyle, they're like a deer in
Yes.
headlights.
Yes.
But I
I like
love,
also, oh,
what?
sorry.
Oh, go ahead, go ahead.
No, that you worded it like sentences and like phrases, because that is much less intimidating than like a whole song.
Yes. Yes.
Right, just
Yes.
go with what you know and then yeah.
I often tell students in those find your own flow classes, if you stand by the pole and literally do body waves the entire time, that is fine. Because
Yeah.
most likely when you're listening to the music and you hear the different, crescendos, you can hear different dynamics in the music, you're probably going to do something differently and you'll learn something from that. So, it's all valuable. It's all learning.
It is. So you were mentioning when you teach freestyle and those kind of classes, what kind of workshops do you teach or are you offering when you travel?
Yes. So workshops, I offer lots of different types of workshops. Aerial pole spins is one of my favorite ones to teach, just because that's what makes aerial pole so unique, the way that it spins. I teach find your own flow, which I was talking about before, as well as some static rotation classes, brass monkey deep dives, as well as a lot of choreo-based classes as well. Yes.
Book LisaBella.
Link in the description and the comments below.
Yes. Do you have any upcoming workshops or shows? I know you plugged one of them already. You said it was 2 Saturdays from now.
Yes, 2 Saturdays from now at Red Pavilion in Brooklyn, Bushwick. It's March 16th with Subtlation Polars. I'm really excited. It's going to be Disney themed. It's going to be wild and silly and fun. So come if you can.
Are you playing a Disney character?
I
Or
am.
you don't want to give it away?
Should I share it? It will be the poll on the call exclusive.
Yes, thank you.
Yes. So I'm reusing an aerial loops act, the loop straps act, and I am going to be Princess Jasmine. So it's the scene from the original Aladdin movie where Jasmine is captured by Jafar, and the loop straps act will be the seduction to steal back the lamp. So that is the concept, loosely based on Jasmine. It's not going to be quite so literal.
I feel like you just posted something about this.
Yes, probably.
Okay. I was like, am I having deja vu? Why does this?
I get excited and I post so much on my stories about upcoming shows. Yes, I also have some upcoming workshops. I don't think they're officially announced yet, so I won't give anything away, but keep your eye out. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, LisaBella Pole, and I'll have those up there.
And TikTok.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I love it. I can't wait to see that. That's going to be awesome. That does sound
Very
exciting.
Yes.
You mentioned too that you make all your costumes. Do you have any tips and advice for other polars who are trying to affix rhinestones to their costume and have them actually stay?
I don't make all of my costumes. They tend to be costumes that I already own that I'm okay with potentially destroying in the rhinestoning process, to be honest. But my tips for rhinestoning are I use the, E6000 glue, and I have one of those picker pens that has the wax tip, and then I use a syringe so I can control the glue a little bit better, and I don't have all the strings of glue as I go, and I can place the exact right amount. Yeah, I think that's the tip. Yeah. Syringe and pen, one of those.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that.
Big multitasker. Like I can picture you rhinestoning and like creating videos at the same
Yes.
That's incredible. Wow, such patience to be able to do that. That's incredible.
I find it kind of meditative, rhinestoning. Yeah. So
I can
Right, your
understand.
costumes are always so beautiful. I've ruined so many potential costumes just trying to glue rhinestones on there. So thank you for those tips.
Yeah.
Right, the strings just get everywhere, and then I'm like, ah.
Yeah,
Yeah, the syringe is a game changer. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to remember that. I've been using hot crazy glue.
Oh, I've never tried that.
I get the strings, so I'm gonna have
Oh
to.
no. Yeah.
OMG, you learn something new every day. So I think we asked what are some things coming soon. You talked about some workshops, that you haven't announced yet, some performances. Ooh, what do you like to do on your free time? Your
I would
hobbies?
say there's not too much free time to be had between a muggle job and pole and aerial, prepping for performances, making costumes, ruining costumes and then doing them again. Kidding. But yeah, I think otherwise, when I have extra time, it's socializing, making friends with new cats. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Shout out to kitties.
Yes, yes. It's funny because I'm allergic, but I love them so
Oh.
much that it doesn't matter. Yeah. It's kind of like how I'm lactose intolerant, but no one would ever know because I still eat a lot of dairy.
I'm glad, I'm glad you can still at least touch the cats. Because
Yes.
I love cats, they're my favorite, but I'm severely allergic that I
Oh
need an
no.
EpiPen, so I can't even
Oh
touch them.
no. Yeah. No, my allergy is fortunately not that severe. It's more as long as I wash my clothes and take a shower afterwards, I'm good.
Oh, lucky the small things.
Oh.
Okay, so free time, which you don't have much of. I mean, you pretty much get to do everything you love, like
Yes. Yes. I'm not
so.
complaining. Not at all.
I love it. Any self-care or community care tips that you want to share?
Ooh. I would say make sure you have rest days. I would say food is our fuel, especially with the crazy stuff that we do on pole, making sure that we're fueling our bodies correctly and getting enough protein and everything else. Um, yeah, finding ways to de-stress, all the things. Yeah.
What is like your favorite pre-show meal and how pre-show do you eat it?
Yeah. So especially with the shows in New York, since I have about a 3-hour drive to get there, I tend to pack a protein shake that I drink along the way, which means I have to stop for the bathroom, but that's okay. Um, I tend to pack a salad and noodles that are protein noodles. They're like ramen, but protein, and I put peanut sauce on them so I can pack it all up. I try to stick to foods that my body is familiar with. So I'm not experimenting day of a show. um, but yeah, that's typically it. If I find that I need more energy while I'm there, I have little applesauce packets, and that's like the perfect amount of sugar boost right before I go on without crashing. So I like that. And those are very portable, don't need to be refrigerated or anything, and you don't need a spoon because it's just a little packet. But yeah, and then I try to before I leave, I eat my normal breakfast, brunch sort of meals that I normally would. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. So, I mean, I already kind of think I know, but we have a surprise question. The importance of
Oh,
nutrition to pole dancers.
what was that?
The importance of nutrition and eating to pole dancers.
Yes.
Does it matter? Do you
It
think it matters?
absolutely does. It absolutely does. I think that as pole moves get more advanced, and I think moves that used to be considered advanced are now taught in fairly beginner level classes. And as the sport of pole dance increases in difficulty, we do need to treat it like a sport when it comes to nutrition and rest days and protecting our shoulders and doing all of that work. So yes, absolutely. Food is our fuel, and for pole dance, that's very important.
Thank you
Right.
for sharing that. Yeah, right. We've been asking more pole dancers that because we always ask them like what you do for conditioning and everything, but like eating is such an important thing because we have to fuel our bodies, like you said, because we are athletes.
Yeah. Yes.
Slowly learning that. So I feel like other people need to hear this information because I was a big red meat eater and I would one night eat a hamburger, then go teach 3 classes the next day and feel like absolute crap.
Oh no. Yeah. Yeah.
And so it really does make a difference. So I'm glad we started asking this and you shared it with us.
Yes, absolutely. I've had those weeks where I get all takeout, or I'm on a business trip and I'm eating food that I don't normally eat, tends to be a lot of carbs, and then with no protein, nothing else, or a lot of sugar. And I go try to pull and it's like, oh, I don't have any energy. What's happening? But then I remember what I ate. So yeah.
Yes. Thank you for sharing that. See, we all go through it, people. We all go through it.
Right? Right. We've all been the one eating a big meal before pole class and then immediately regretting it.
Regretting it, yes.
But everyone's body is different too. Maybe that is good for you.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I was just thinking about like the wealth of tricks that you must have in your back pocket. Like you can just like fold yourself into all of the different positions. Has there ever been a trick that like you've tried that just you were like, this is not gonna work?
Trick that not gonna work. So I have shorter arms proportionally to my body. So some of the moves where you're wrapping an arm and grabbing under the leg and doing all of this stuff, I have more trouble with. Like I would say bird of paradise in terms of arm length and shoulder flexibility is end range for me. So yeah, arms tend to be the limiting factor for a lot of moves. And then I tend to steer clear from some of the more power moves. I ended up hurting my wrist doing fongies probably before I was ready for them. So it's no longer a move that I feel like I need to learn. Maybe someday, but not right now.
Oh man. I'm sorry to hear that. Like I can't even imagine. I've never tried Fanji or trained it, but I know Chris has.
Yeah.
Yes, and I definitely respect your decision. Sometimes I
Yeah.
feel the same way. I have been taking my time. I know I can get it and I feel I can get it, but there are some days where I'm like, why am I doing this?
Why? Yes.
Well, do you have any advice for beginner pole dancers?
Advice. Listen to your body. If your body is telling you it's tired, take a rest day. Take it at your own pace. Try not to compare yourself to anyone else. I think especially because we all come from different backgrounds, whether it's a movement background, we're all starting at slightly different spots and we may end up gravitating to different parts of the big thing that we call pole. Some people may gravitate towards more of the power pole. Some people may gravitate more towards the sensual pole, and that's all perfectly fine. But as you're starting out and you don't yet know where you'll gravitate towards, just allowing yourself to go at your own speed and find things that work for you. And yeah, being nice to yourself.
I love it. An excellent tip that we all need to hear constantly.
Can all be nicer to ourselves.
That we can all say it over and over to each other so we remember. Is there anything else that you would like to promote? Anything at all? Or where do you see yourself in 5 years with pole?
Oh. Let's see. So in terms of promotion, I think I've mentioned most of it. I teach in terms of regular classes. I teach Tuesday intro to straps classes at Air Temple Arts in New Haven. So I'm very excited about that. I think March is sold out, but April they'll be opening up at some point soon. So folks should sign up if you've ever wanted to try straps and your shoulders are feeling up for the challenge. Let's see, I teach once a month at Cat Studio in Swansea, Mass. So I always love going there. Yeah, and then there's some workshops coming that I don't want to spoil yet until they're fully announced, but exciting things on the way. Oh, and there's another thing that's not announced yet, but there may or may not be a music video with a local artist coming soon. So yes.
So amazing.
I love it. Oh, you're just like so excited because your voice trembles just a little when you talk about it.
So excited.
Yes, I can't wait. That's so exciting.
Yes.
That is
Oh
so
yeah.
exciting. And where do you see yourself in 5 years with pole?
Probably doing less crazy bendy tricks in 5 years. I don't know. I think recently I've been more gravitating towards the flowy, ethereal movements and just enjoying the ride. I hope to continue with straps and see everything that I can do there. But yeah, I don't have some grand ambitions in terms of pole moves or anything. I think it's more just taking the moves that I have and making them more fluid and creating new acts and performing. Hopefully I'm still performing.
I love it. Thank you. And I did have one more question that popped into my head. I'm so sorry because you were
No.
mentioning classes, um, on, online options or some of your workshops online for those who might be far.
Not currently. There may be some things in the future, but not yet finalized. So yeah, keep your eye out.
That's exciting. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Right. You're so creative with your act choreography and everything. And everyone should be definitely following LisaBella for all those upcoming things, workshops, performances. And yeah. Do
Yes,
you
we'll
have
have
any?
links and comments below in the description, y'all. Don't forget.
Yes. Um, I guess that's all the questions that we had.
Yes, unless there's anything that you wanted to add, Lisa Bella.
Oh, well, not at all pole related, but since I'm under
Love
my
it.
stage lights on my rig, I felt like for our outro, I should have crazy party lights. Yeah.
I might have to
Oh
steal
my
that.
God, it looks so cool.
It's wild. I could
I
set the
love it.
strobe on, but I think it would be too much.
We might have to set a disclaimer. Please do
Yeah, I
not.
know.
Right, yeah.
Oh no.
Oh my gosh, I love this party that's happening right
Yes.
now.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much to Lisa for joining us today, and thank you so much to all of our listeners and watchers who are experiencing this Pull in the Call episode. My name is Mandy Mac.
And I am Cris Rivers. Oh, heels. We. Okay. Enjoy. Yeah.